Hi, we're now looking at really the first stage of any project to make an iMedia product, which is to engage with a brief and requirements which are coming from a client. So a client is the person or company who is commissioning you to create the digital media product or the iMedia product. So the word commission basically means they are approaching you and asking you to do it. They are giving you permission, authorization to create the product, and of course should be paying you as well. And this is reflecting the fact that most people working in this area will work for various different clients. They'll just get commissioned to do different work. Of course, you may be doing it yourself if you're making some digital media product yourself. You are your own client in that case, and it's a bit of a less formal process, but the same ideas do apply. Because in order to summarize what the client's goals are, which may be you in that case, what is called a design brief will be developed. And a design brief is really a summary of what the client's goals are, what they want to achieve. So the brief is what they're bringing to you once you have been commissioned to do it. And so this can be developed in a few different ways. There are different ways a brief can be presented or developed. It might be developed through a client discussion. Maybe the client drops by your office and has a chat with you and the team to discuss what they want. That can be relatively informal in the first meeting. It may be that actually they provide you a written brief. When they come and commission you to do the work, they are giving you a really specific brief, and this may be quite short. It may just be a paragraph, or maybe a couple of pages. It can vary quite a lot in terms of quality as well. In the case of maybe a film or TV or advert, you might be given a script, right? As a person making this product, you're not really the writer. Someone has already written the script. You may edit it a tiny bit, but really it's there for you to then put into action. And in the most formal case, you may get an actual specification. And this is sort of most technical of the four. A written brief is more just an everyday language. A specification is usually really specific, exactly what they want. This one here, which is really small and is not that important, is just for a website. So this is part of the document which would have different pages: the home page, the info section, the contact page, and the different elements of a website are clearly listed by the client, and so you have to match up your final website with this original specification. As I say, these are not always very detailed, these design briefs. Sometimes the client will just approach you with a rough idea and it's your job to come up with some creative solution. Sometimes they'll know exactly what they want and your job is just to carry it out. So it does vary quite a lot. However, what we do want to know and want to define at the earlier stage is some client requirements. And usually this will come from the brief in whatever format it was in, a discussion or an actual written document. And the requirements will express what needs to be met in order to satisfy the client. Ultimately, you want to satisfy the client so that you get paid what was agreed, and also you want to increase your reputation and get hired again in the future. And the requirements are enabling you to compare once you finish with what was agreed at the start. Sometimes these requirements will be really clear from the brief, sometimes they'll be quite vague, and sometimes you'll even need to sort of go away and formalize them yourself and then show them to the client again to make sure they're happy. It really does vary, but often they'll focus on a few different areas. So some possible focuses are on the purpose, which is really the most important focus, because you want to know what this product is created for. Is it an advert? Is it designed to provide some information, important information? Is designed to entertain someone? The theme, which will really depend on what exactly the purpose is, right? They're very closely linked. But the theme is what this product should connote. Connote meaning, what are the connotations of this product? What will people associate this product with? Is it meant to be funny? Is it meant to be scary? Is it meant to be dark? Etc. And linking closely to theme again is style, which is how this product should be presented. So there are different styles which will apply to various things. In filmmaking, there are different styles. There are different styles of art, of course. And often there'll be a specific house style you'll be using. So if a company is the client, they might have their own branding, which is using a set color scheme, is using set logos and set fonts. That is the house style. It's the whole branding which is associated with that company, and they may want you to use it in your product. So you are a bit constrained in that sense. A house style is really important for ensuring consistency across a brand. And a similar point to style, all of these are quite similar to be honest, is genre. So a genre is a grouping of similar products, right? So a genre of music might be rock music or indie music, a genre of film might be horror, right? So in this case, what similar products this product should be like? Are there comparable products which you want it to be in the same sort of area with? And the content will need to be understood at this early stage. What needs to be communicated? Of course, the theme and style and genre are going to feed into this and help you communicate it, but ultimately you need to know what should be communicated. What does the client want to get across to people viewing this product? And this will be influenced by the target audience. So presumably the client will have some target audience in mind, which is who this product is aimed at. We'll talk more about target audience in the next video. There are other possible focuses, of course. The two most obvious ones, which are not listed here, are timescale and cost. The client will have some timescale and cost in mind, and you'll have to try and stick to that. So just to, in a sense, summarize what we've talked about in this video so far, how the sort of early stages of your creation will work in pre-production. Well, first of all, you might have that initial meeting with a client where they provide you with a brief which has requirements. It may not actually be a meeting, it may just be you get a document through the post, but often there'll be some discussion. You get a brief, which is sort of a summary usually of what needs to be created, and hopefully it will have some requirements. Sometimes it may not have clear requirements, and so your job is to create them for the client. And then after this is understood, you and perhaps your team, depending on how big an operation this is, will go away and create some first draft pre-production documents. So things we'll cover in future videos, like doing some research and then analysing this research, creating a work plan and production schedule, which is really important to make sure that budget and timescale requirements are being met, and also any design documents which will help you figure out how or what your product should look like, things like mood boards and so on. And a stage which sometimes people don't think about is once you create these documents, you're probably not going to automatically just move on to production. You'll want to meet again with the client, present these documents to the client, who can give you some feedback. Maybe you haven't quite understood a requirement, maybe they've changed their mind, which is always a nightmare, and you might have to go back and edit some of your documents, change a few ideas around. Or if the client is happy, they might give you what we might call a green light to enter production, which is just the go ahead. They give you permission to enter production because they are happy with your planning. This third step is really important because it can prevent any problems from escalating when more work is carried out. And perhaps you realise when you are, say, making the work plan that actually you don't fully understand a requirement, it gives you another opportunity to clear up any confusion.